All right, so this one's going to put my succinct storytelling skills to the test. So I'm going on a cruise in 4 days out of Florida to Key West, the Bahamas, and Grand Cayman. So about almost 40 days ago, my sister told me we could check in for the cruise, 45 days out. I'm going with my parents, my sister, her husband. She has 2 kids. One of them's going, and my brother. So I am the absolute black sheep of the family, always late for everything. They're early for everything. Million other examples. They all checked in probably 45 days ago. I didn't even consider it. And I'm now discovering largely all these things are largely due to my ADD personality. So, it just wasn't a priority. Our priorities are trying to get things done, just trying to get through the day and be productive, basically. Even though we procrastinate like crazy, we're still afraid to do anything like even take 5-10 minutes to check in for a cruise because we have all this other stuff overwhelming us that we want to accomplish, which only contributes to our procrastination. Anyway, so my mother started bugging me more in the last few weeks because she gets emails from the cruise line saying you can check in. So last Tuesday, I happened to do breakfast with my parents, and right then a reminder popped up on my phone. It's one reason I hadn't done it to that point. If I don't have it on my calendar, there's no chance of it, or a reminder set. And I kept forgetting to set a reminder to actually do it, even though I might as well have just done it at that point. Anyway, I also had to get my passport out of my closet, the whole thing. So I would have done it right on the spot there when that reminder went off. I had said it the night before, except we were out to breakfast. So I then, delayed it till that afternoon, told her I'd get it done. Well, that afternoon, I at least got my passport out of the drawer. But then when I remember to do it, I'd be sitting at my computer. My passport would be across across the room. I wouldn't want to take the 2 seconds to get up and get it because I didn't want to lose any productivity. So there was never a good time when I was with my passport and remembered to do it. So that was on last Tuesday. Finally, on Friday, I was actually on an ADD community call and I was about to share on the call, but a woman raised her hand before me. So while I was waiting, I decided I'd check in on the app. That to me is always the best time to when I'm doing something else that I can basically, so I can multitask, so I can take the time while I'm also being productive on this call. So I go to the Celebrity Cruise app. No lie, I swear, I didn't even really have the phone up to my passport. Before it had said passport expired. I said, no way. I've judged those people my whole lives. I feel like I practically just got it done. My initial reaction was the point, I said, that must be my old passport, which I still keep around as a backup, but I knew that one had holes punched in it. So I couldn't believe it. My heart just sank. And it was ironic that my turn then came up to share and I could give a live update on what I'd done and talked about how that still happens all the time. Quick tasks like that, should just accomplish right away. I still wait till the right moment, the perfect moment. Perfectionism plays a role in this as well. It's never the perfect time to do it. So my heart dropped. If I had been in my drinking days, I would have very likely drank over it. Or, even if I wasn't, but if I hadn't, I'm now over 21 months. If I was even in the early days of drinking, I probably would have drank over this. All these thoughts race in my head. What am I going to do? At least I've heard of people getting them quickly. But I do have Klonopin. I only take it on demand and very sparingly, 1 milligram. It's essentially a sedative. And I only take about a quarter to a half a pill typically when I get really overwhelmed. I used to take it so I wouldn't drink, although typically I would overrule that and drink instead, but it really helps. So I took an entire pill of it, which I rarely ever do, but it was great. It calmed me right down. And I also needed the Klonopin to counteract the coffee I drank that morning. I was drinking just half calf for quite a while. I don't even need the caffeine at all. Use it as a crutch. But more recently, I've been drinking full calf because I like this iced coffee at the mobile station down the street. So, and I just did a video, number 115, you should check it out, on how caffeine, the cortisol spike from caffeine, triggers anxiety, which can actually trigger a relapse. So even though coffee is the beverage of choice for those in recovery, it could play a major role in what leads so many to eventually slip. And it definitely would have played a role that day had I not been so advanced in my recovery. And also, I essentially had the Klonopin sedative to counteract it. So it really is maddening. And another note is, I mentioned I likely would have drank in that moment in my drinking days or early sobriety. I also would have drank for my appointment at 8:30 on a Monday morning, 2 days before flying on my vacation, which I never drink with my family, almost never around my family, and it would only be without them knowing. But I would have very likely, due to all the alcohol-induced anxiety, I would have drank just to show up for that appointment, which has got to make no sense to just regular drinkers. And I probably would have drank today as well because I went this afternoon just to pick up the passport. But I had to drive into Boston day before Christmas Eve. It'd be more enjoyable to listen to Christmas music with a buzz. And that would have left me a mess for tomorrow. I'm taking a 6:30 train. I would have been a mess tomorrow as well. Who knows? I might even drink tomorrow. Just a few on the way to the airport. That'll make that flight more fun, and then be a mess the rest of the day. And it never made it more fun. So anyway, I still did my share on the call, which I'm surprised I didn't just hang up. But I then Googled it. Very luckily, there's a U.S. passport office in Boston. I was able to get an appointment. This was on last Friday. I was able to get an appointment for Monday morning, 8:30. Couldn't believe it. So I felt such relief. I got my photos over the weekend. I went there to the appointment, and they basically said, come back tomorrow at 3 o'clock to pick it up, which was great. My only regret, I just talked to a friend. She said, you should just book a flight for Monday night and tell them you need it right away. They can do it within a 1 to 3 hour window, I learned. But I thought they were going to go off the cruise date, and I'd already put that in as the 27th. I didn't think they cared when my flight to Florida was, because they said there was a $60 expedite fee plus a $22.50 mailing fee. So I just thought they were going to overnight it basically to Florida. So I totally was kicking myself and I was glad though. I would have rather just get it in person than wait for it mailing, especially knowing once my mother were to find out, she would not sleep a wink until that thing showed up. But for future reference, you can cancel flights within 24 hours. And that's what this friend had done. And I kind of wish I had done in retro. Anyway, I'm just coming off of having gone back there to pick it up. I showed up an hour early thinking the guy told me I could show up a half hour early. It turns out there's no exceptions to that. He said they don't even release them till half hour before. And ironically, there was about 20 other people waiting. And I talked to a girl online. She thought the same thing. She thought she'd be the only one there early, but apparently everybody's, waiting for them. And they do really make you show proof of your travel. They write down your confirmation numbers and everything. So it was a great learning experience. Yesterday, when I was in the initial line, I talked to a guy that was going on his honeymoon. His doesn't expire for 3 months, but FYI, you need 6 months on your passport, which I kind of knew. And by the way, if someone had asked me, I actually would have, when mine expired, I probably would have said around this time, but I didn't think it was till next year, even though it still felt like I just got it. The kicker is, I went in to clear out some photos recently. I took a photo of my passport on December 3rd and didn't even notice the expiration. Killer. So, lesson learned, lesson to everybody. I got more to tell, and I'm going to wrap that up for now. As always, stronger, sober. Thanks.